Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 178.
Woo!
This is the 178th time you've wasted.
Well, more than that if you include the 10 forwards and
That's true.
Space Western there. Serenity.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah,
be
we
fair,
gotta be-
that's really not fair. I mean, at least 2 or 3 of the episodes weren't a waste of time, you know? I would say we have at least a 1% success rate.
Wow.
Yeah, Best of Both Worlds was good. We got presents.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Cool. Well, yeah, as I said, this is the 178th episode of our podcast.
And the
And
porn
it is
parody was great, too.
It is the,
Actually, I just checked SoundCloud. You know what this is? If you include everything?
200?
Our 200th episode.
That's too many. That's way too many.
Woo!
200th
At least
episode.
194 too many.
Wow. That's great. We should do like a big, doing windmills with our dicks or something in celebration.
I don't have a
You go
dick.
ahead and
I
stay
love-
off camera.
I left my dick at home, so
can
I
do,
won't be able to.
I don't know. Do a windmill with your clit. I don't know. Whatever broads do. Whatever the female equivalent of windmilling is.
With your clit.
Wow.
Speaking
Oh,
of what
no.
ladies do, Jake, what episodes are we talking
Oh,
about?
that's right. We're going to be talking about 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. And interestingly enough, these also happen to be the 178th episodes of Deep Space Nine. So talk about coincidence there.
The fuck are
That's
you
definitely
talking
not
about?
right. Definitely wrong.
Well, all right. Well, for this 200th episode spectacular, which we've been planning for months.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody have like a blow tickler or maybe like
What the? Wait, I know we've talked about this before, but what the fuck
damn
do you
it.
mean
It's
by
one of
blow
those,
tickler?
It's one of those things
party
you have
blowers.
at New Year's Eve that you go
Yeah,
blow
like a
has,
party-
tickler
like,
just
the-
sounds wrong.
but it
With
has
a-
the thing that flicks out, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, it's
what
like
I
a
mean?
big tongue, like it
Yeah.
uncurls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the British call them blow ticklers, and I
Well,
don't
they're
have another
wrong.
word for them.
Oi,
but I don't know what
governor.
the fuck to call them.
We got ourselves a blow tickler.
Because if you call
go
it like
with
a
our
party
butt
blower,
fister.
that just sounds like what you call me after too many drinks. Hey.
Speaking of, who are we?
oh
Oh
my
yeah,
god.
my name's Jake, and I'm
This-
joined by.
This is Chris.
This is Ames.
Caitlin.
Put that blow tickler away, Caitlin.
You can't make me. This is a free country.
Oh, wait, did you actually say the episodes yet?
I haven't. The episodes we'll be talking about today are Exploders and Family Matters.
Nope.
Does
Does that make Rom?
It's a rare
Did I
condition
do
this
it?
day and age. Oh my god, he totally is Urkel. Before we talk about Rom, we should
late.
talk about our first episode called Explorers.
Mm.
As we open the episode, we see a great pair. I mean, just spectacular. I'm probably going to spend most of the episode talking about this. We meet a new Dabo girl, Lita, who we will see more of.
Oh my god, I
Oh,
totally
wow.
forgot that this was this episode.
Yeah, and I mean, she's
It's
just
really quick. She's there for
stacked.
all of 2 minutes.
She's Bajoran, good hair. Just an all around quality.
Yeah, but she pronounces
Woman.
Lita like she's never said it before in her
Well,
fucking
she's
life.
Bajoran.
That's how they say
Ferengi.
it on Bajor, okay? Jesus, get over it.
It might be the translator.
So some other shit happens in the
Could be the
episode. I don't really
translator.
remember, but yeah, and that's Explorers.
That's about right.
God
Try
damn
again.
it.
Okay, no, for reals though. Yeah, so Julian is man, they're doing this weird flirty thing with Lita, and it doesn't quite work. So hopefully she gets herself a better man in the future. So, but we do find out that the Lexington is going to dock, and on board the Lexington is Bashir's old rival from college, who was the doctor who beat him out.
Beat him off. No,
Well,
wait.
he wishes. Beat him out for valedictorian because he didn't have, that post-ganglionic bullshit
And, like, good for them for throwing back to that memorable moment.
Every chance
fucking
they
time.
can.
Oh,
Yeah.
so much with the
I
ganglia.
swear to
God
Christ,
damn
this
it.
had better be the last we're about.
It's not.
No,
Fuck.
no. It's just it's his personality. You know, his personality is ganglia and fuck.
Is that the new Netflix and
And
chill? Ganglia and
accent.
fuck?
That's
That
right.
actually worked for Michelle Yeoh and Michael Berman in Discovery. Wasn't that what it was? It was ganglia and fuck, wasn't it?
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
So anywho, Cisco's also back from a vacay to Bajor where he's got a fake beard,
So
And,
obviously
Oh
fake.
my.
really bad fake beard.
Oh my god, I
don't-
didn't even... Do you know
don't worry, they
that?
let
I
him
didn't
grow
even
it in for
realize
the-
it was fake. Isn't that
I'll
Very
awesome?
grow it in
fake.
for the next
You,
week.
you can tell because next week
It's
it's
really
entirely
short.
different.
It's
Yeah,
real.
I noticed
And
that,
thin.
but I thought, maybe that
Like, it was
a
really
choice.
important that he have it for this episode for some reason. And Avery forgot that he wasn't supposed to shave, but whatever.
Well, because Jake was sowing the seeds of a romance, and
That's
he didn't want
true.
his dad to look like a baby-faced little bitch.
So anyway, he's like, listen, I found out about this thing that the Bajorans did way back in the day. They built this space sailing ship.
And I don't have anything going on running a space station, so
So why don't we build this ship, Jake, and try to fly to Cardassia in it? And Jake's like, that sounds boring as fuck, Dad, so peace. But then Jake gets a letter from Earth, and then he's like, yeah, maybe I'll go with Dad anyway. So Cisco ends up building this space boat ship, sail ship.
Dinghy? Space dinghy?
Yeah, it's pretty janky. They gotta like crank the sails, and
was it made of wood?
I think there was wood in it, but it looked like it was made of metal.
Okay.
I think there
Yeah,
was some wood parts.
I know
I
they
was
used a lot
definitely-
of bronze,
He did.
but the wood was confusing because I don't think wood is very space tight.
Well,
Ooh.
it floats in space, so so anywho, they set off on their journey. Partway through, Jake drops the bomb that he got accepted into some kind of writing program. He makes his dad read his terrible fucking
Fanfic.
erotica, and Benjamin's
This is
really good
us.
about
So
it
it's
though.
like, this is going to be hard to masturbate to. Not impossible, but
Um,
it's going to be difficult.
Challenge accepted.
But Jake's like, I don't really know if I want to go to the school right away on Earth because, I kind of feel bad for you, Dad, that you get stuck here. But guess what? I got a lady for you who we'll meet later. And Cisco's like, you setting me up? And Jake's like, yep. Her name's
That's right,
Lita.
Dad.
Her name's
Um,
Lita, you say?
No, her name is something else.
I don't
Anyway,
know what
is
her name is.
Worf's sister-in-law.
Why do you
Sure.
say that?
Played by the same actress.
Oh, I was like, who?
Penny Johnson. She's great.
Yep.
yeah, she's on the Orville too.
Yeah, she's
That's
she's
right.
one of the best elements of the Orville.
That's right,
actually.
she's
Man,
the
I
doctor.
gotta finish watching that at some point.
It gets season 2 gets really interesting.
Honestly, after I got past episode 2, I was pretty on board because they have the episode where they talk about the baby who's born the wrong gender and shit.
Yeah,
and I
that
was
comes
like,
up again,
holy
too.
fuck!
Yeah.
It was deeper than I expected for a fucking shitheel like Seth MacFarlane. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, just go watch
Space Force?
the Outcast.
I
Yeah.
have seen some of Space Force too. It's actually I like
fine.
it. I think it's funny.
I put it on the same caliber as Avenue 5, both of which I'm like, eh.
Still need-
Avenue
yeah,
5 didn't grab me the way I wanted it to, and I gotta finish it at some point anyway.
Very,
'cause-
very caricature-y.
Yeah.
You know what
it is, actually?
Finish the
Jake's close to the
goddamn
end.
summary.
Sorry, go ahead,
No,
Jake.
wait! Let me interrupt for one more second, goddammit! The problem for me with Avenue 5 is Josh Gad.
Who's that?
He's the fucking annoying one. The really
the
annoying
fucking
one.
annoying one. Yeah, I can't
Who,
stand him.
owns the fucking ship and is just going around like, oh, you're a very special person. You clean the ship? Oh, well, I like to treat it. Shut the fuck up, Olaf. You fucking dickbag. Worst part of Frozen? Worst part of Avenue 5. Josh Gad. Anyway, Jake us away. Sorry.
Yeah.
Penny Johnson.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, that's what's going on in the ship. Back in base, Julian's trying to work up the nerve to talk to his rival,
Dr. Lentz.
but she walks past him, doesn't even notice him, and he takes offense. So he and Miles get shit-faced.
Oh, is that why they got hammered?
Yeah.
Because he was depressed. But then it turns out it was all a mistake, because when he finally does talk to her, she's like, oh, I thought you were Bolian?
Andorian.
Or Andorian? I knew it was a blue person.
Da-ba-dee-da-ba-die.
Yeah, I thought you were blue dabba-dee-dabba-die. And he's like, I am blue.
He's like, I can see why you'd be confused. I do have a blue house with a blue window.
Yeah,
And a blue shirt. Nothing.
that's true. But yeah, it
Green,
turns
I
out
think.
she's not horrible after all, and she is envious of him because he got a really cool posting out of school, but she's stuck on this ship that is boring, and
She's testing soil samples and shit.
she's testing the waters.
Sounds like she's gonna put out too.
Yeah, they definitely bang.
Let me
big
show
time.
you my research.
Yeah, he showed her his biological research.
Gonna
That
give
does
her some
explain-
hands-on training experience.
That does explain your question from a while ago, though.
What's that?
He apparently has a fair bit of downtime to do research.
That's evidently.
Yeah.
Publishing
he's not-
papers that are brilliant.
When
He's
he's
got
not
his,
busy banging Garrick.
Got his ganglia going. So anywho, back on our little sailing vessel.
And Jake thinks I take forever.
Because you keep
To be
interrupting me
fair-
with fucking sidetracks, for
Listen.
Christ's sake.
To be
Penny
fair,
Johnson.
he's taking just as long as you, and it's because we're interrupting him about as much as we interrupt you.
Gee, I wonder why that is.
No idea.
Anyway, yeah.
Jake,
so
you're losing control of the situation.
out of nowhere, their ship breaks, and then they go to warp, even though it's a sail ship. So they're at warp speed. Then out of nowhere, they think they're stuck because they don't know where they went. They're way off course. But then Ducat pops up in a fleet of ships, and it's like, "Hey, boys, looks like you did it after all."
Fireworks!
Oh, by the way, we also
love
found
it.
out that the ancient Bajorans did this.
Why would... Okay, I know we'll get to it, but, like, why? Why would
Hang on.
Galdecott do fireworks? He doesn't give a shit.
Would fireworks work in space?
Probably not. There's
I mean,
no
they wouldn't make
oxygen or
noise.
whatever.
Well, no, fireworks are probably self-oxygenated, right?
Guys, of all the things wrong, like, technically with this episode, I think the fireworks are the least.
We're nerds, goddammit. We need to know.
How?
Plus, I enjoyed
okay,
them.
I
so.
think
How?
fireworks probably would work. I don't know. I'm not a science
They
guy.
probably developed
But they
space fireworks,
wouldn't
right?
make
Yeah.
sound at the
They would
very
not, no.
least.
Okay, so here, like, how on a ship that was never intended to go to warp, did it have inertial damp
Oh, that's
good
a good
enough
question.
for if they got to warp?
Yeah, they skipped a lot of steps with this ship because they say, oh yeah, would the Bajorans even know how to keep enough oxygen on this ship? Shrug, whatever. We're just going to ignore that and not tell you what we're doing.
Well, they said
Also-
that because they thought that the trip to Cardassia would have taken years. So they're saying there's no way they could have kept years worth of oxygen
Right.
because they
Yeah,
didn't know
'cause-
that the ship could go to warp.
Ben was just trying to get to the something belt or some such, but then they hit that tachyon eddy and got warped. And like, what was the other issue? Oh, yeah. So Ben even says he put in the gravity netting or whatever because
Oh, I
zero
missed
G
that.
makes him nauseous.
I missed that comment.
Yet so much of the ship's design was clearly based around not being in zero G. Like the hammock.
toilet.
Well, maybe. Well, okay. Well,
That's
okay,
true. Why
devil's
would they have a
advocate.
hammock?
Hammocks don't work in zero
Well,
G.
yeah, the hammock wouldn't work, but he might have the hammock might have been something he added himself. Like maybe they had. You ever see like how astronauts on the ISS sleep in like sleeping bags mounted
Yeah,
to the
that are
wall?
basically tacked to the wall.
I was literally just gonna say, like, how the fuck would you sleep then in zero G? Just gonna float around all over the place.
Yeah, you
Yeah, no,
basically
they-
have to strap in.
Yeah. They
You
do
can swaddle
mention
yourself like a baby.
Yeah, they do mention, even though they don't show it, that the bathroom is zero G-able. But like everything else, like, how were they cranking those what's-it in zero G? Because there was clearly a lot of like bracing yourself against the floor.
Well, they might have had like Velcro shoes
Yeah, maybe.
so that they could still stand on the floor, but still be in zero G.
Yeah, it's just a lot of it was like, you weren't thinking about this when you designed.
Jake made a stupid comment, made me want to smack him when they were like, "Oh yeah, these are the kinds of ships they would have built 800 years ago." I think was the number they gave, and Jake's like, "Oh wow, that's when human beings on Earth were still just flying around in like
Boats.
rafts and schooners."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What? Do you not realize that other civilizations might have a different timeline than yours?"
I mean, have you met humanity?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, think about how the U.S. doesn't sort of understand that there are other countries in the world. Never mind. I mean,
Yeah, and think about how back-asswards Bajor is for the most part with their society and all the
Yeah, really the
stupid shit
question
they
should
get
be
into.
like, Bajor did this? That
Yeah.
sounds wrong.
Yeah, like if you told me the Vulcans had warp ships 800 years ago, no problem.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah,
Bajorans?
8,000 years ago.
Eh.
They come
What,
out of the womb with those things.
Another thing that annoyed me, and I feel like I probably brought this up, terrible fistful of datas, but just as they kept calling it the Ancient West, they kept referring to the 8 centuries prior Bajorans as ancient Bajorans, and it's like, 800 years ago isn't ancient. Like, 800 years past from now is the 1200. We don't call that ancient time. That's the Middle Age.
We talk about
because
ancient
we
times
have
as, like, 3000
we have like
BC,
a named epoch, right? You know, like we actually call it the Middle Ages. But if we didn't have that, I don't know what we'd call it.
I still can't imagine we lump it in as ancient, though.
Well, it depends on how long the Bajoran timeline is. Maybe they just jumped from 900 years ago to 800 years ago with no time flat.
Well, everything does get compressed heavily in history, right?
Yeah.
You know, we think, you know, oh yeah, the Middle Ages is an extremely long period of time, but it all kind of, you know, seems like, oh, well, there's, you know, knights and horses.
Yeah, I actually watched two documentaries last night on the expedition that this idea was based off of, the Kon-Tiki expedition, which is actually very fascinating, and they have a lot of interesting footage, and they've there's been reenactments of this thing in the past 10 years, basically. It's really cool. So the Kon-Tiki expedition is this raft that this Norwegian, because it's always Norwegians, because they're fucking brilliant.
And
I'm really bored.
Yeah. This guy, Thor Heyerdahl,
of course,
built this raft based on a Peruvian schematic from thousands of years ago. And the idea
from
was
ancient
to prove
times.
From the ancient West. And the idea was
you know why? Because it sounds better than the really, 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 really old West.
Ye old West. Yeah, so the idea was to prove that there was this idea that could Peruvians have made it across the Pacific to Polynesia? And the idea was, dear God, no, they didn't have that kind of technology. From Peru.
Holy shit, that's a long trip.
Yeah,
How long is that trip?
101 days.
On a fucking raft?
On a raft made of balsa wood with a 5-person crew, so a total of 6 people on this raft. And they made
Did they fucking blow it by bringing 7 people and only enough stuff for 6?
No,
they all survived. Their parrot flew away eventually, but...
Well, who can blame him, frankly?
Where would the parrot go?
I'm sure to its
anywhere
death.
else, dude. Any fucking
in the middle of the ocean, it's not like the parrot's gonna get tired of flying and just crash.
Never. It'll never happen.
It befriended a pod of dolphins. They all take turns letting him ride on their back.
That's cute.
Or just keeping him up in the thermals or something from their breath.
Yeah, and Thor Heyerdahl's grandson, just in, I want to say 2006, because this documentary came out in 2010, I think, redid this expedition with his own raft that he built almost the same way, but bigger, because of course he did. And he cut 30 days off the trip by not going around following the stream, but just going straight on through.
Fuck.
And their boom broke several times. They had to replace it with bullshit. But no, it's really cool.
There's also a Tiny Toons Adventures episode parody that called Kon-Ducky.
Ah.
But what's even more impressive though is, yeah, it's great that some Norwegians were able to do this, but you got to figure that the
Vikings,
ancient Peruvians, they didn't know where Polynesia was. They didn't know that there was a Polynesia.
Yeah,
they just got in a fucking raft.
Went. How did
Maybe there's some shit out there. I don't know.
Yeah, even watching the 2 different teams building their rafts, they still used machinery to build the rafts in the same way that the Peruvians would have. So it's still not a single screw or nail on the things. Everything's tied with wood.
Yeah.
But they're still using giant machines to move the wood around. And I can't imagine, even if it's, balsa wood, but it's fucking 25 feet long.
That actually brings up another point about what's just ridiculous about this episode.
Oh, that Ben built this thing by himself in under 3 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, guys, he's a master woodsman. He's a smelter. He's got all that shit. He's really good at welding.
A stick welder.
No worries, he's great.
How much did the replicator do? Most of it?
Here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that like every night after Cisco went to bed, Miles went into that cargo bay and just redid all the shoddy work.
Yeah, even 2 people building this thing, though. Because, watching the Norwegians build this raft, it took them over 5 weeks for 20 people and machinery to put this thing together.
So I have a quick follow-up question, Jake, which is, are leprechauns known for building stuff for people?
I do really love the idea of just sneaking in there going, oh, Jesus. Last 5 fucking minutes.
Faith in Bagora.
You know what it is?
He needs this oxygen tank, damn it.
You know what it is? He purposely blasts himself with radiation and tachyons to get a team of himself from across time. So it's just a cargo bay full of Mileses.
And then all the extra ones die off.
Yes.
One thing that
Chief
struck me...
O'Brien and the 7 Miles.
Is it like, yes, solar wind is a thing that exists.
Oh yeah, actually this episode won the Best Vision of the Future award from the Space Frontier Foundation because they were also simultaneously working on solar sail technology.
But the thing is,
it's cool.
I'm pretty sure, like, the sails wouldn't be billowing in the solar wind.
They'd also need to be kilometers long.
I know. Well, that was the other thing. It's like, given the size of that ship, I get that he's like, yeah, well, because it's so low mass, but the solar wind is so freaking weak. The sail would have to be, like you say, kilometers big just to catch enough.
Can't fit that in a cargo bay, though.
Maybe Bajoran solar sails are better.
Yeah. It was really pretty. Apparently, in a cut line, it was called the Baraka, which means good fortune in Swahili.
Oh, cool.
It's a very pretty ship. I like the look of it a lot.
the look of it. It looked like a beautiful space insect.
I'm not even joking. I kind of wonder if they cut that because it's like the heyday of Mortal Kombat, and they just figured stupid people would think it was after the...
Baraka, the big green guy. Or no?
No, he was the guy with the blades.
Blades arms, yeah. Who's the green guy? He's from a different game, isn't he?
Yes, that's...
Street Fighter.
Blanca from Street Fighter.
Blanca. Well, it sounds similar, too.
It does, yes. So
I think it would have been nice if it had a name, the ship.
That's true.
I think it would have been nice if this wasn't the most boring fucking A-plot ever.
I don't know. I kind of did, it wasn't exciting by any means, but I don't know. I like the father-son bonding.
It's a lovely relationship,
plot.
yeah.
That's what I was going to say is like...
It's nothing going
like,
on.
The frame is so bad, but it gave us some really, really good Jake and Cisco scenes.
Yeah.
Like
the lighting in that ship was beautiful.
Yeah. Like the whole excuse to get them there was just so dumb.
Okay, would it have helped you, Caitlin, if they had done their original plan and featured O'Brien instead of the Ciscos?
O'Brien and Keiko.
No, that's a big no. That's a big fucking
only one comes back.
N.O. Bryan.
See that?
Thank you, Jake.
Like, I get the idea. See, this is the problem. Like, I can't see, like, it sort of belies belief that Cisco can build that on his own.
Oh, yeah.
But in the other
he built that clock before.
Yes, that's true, but that was while under the influence of alien doodle. But the thing with O'Brien is, like, I could see him building this, but I can't see him thinking, I'm gonna recreate this old Bajoran trip. That's the kind of thing I do. Oh, wait, no, it fucking isn't. I do my job,
I could see
get
him
past and play darts.
I feel like if it was O'Brien, it would be him and Bashir, and it would be Bashir being all like, no, it's an expedition and discovering new worlds, but reenacting it and shit. It would just be him being all fucking John Smith and Pocahontas, not like...
And we already have a great Julian O'Brien scene in this show.
That's
where O'Brien almost says, I love you, Julian, like 3 times. And it's beautiful.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know much about the real Irish, but if the real Irish are anything like Irish Americans, that is the closest you get telling someone that isn't a family member you love. That's the closest you get to telling certain family members you love.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they sang Jerusalem per request of Meanie and El Fadil. Because they couldn't get the rights to Louie Louie again.
I was wondering why we weren't doing Louie Louie, that old sea chanty.
Fucking rights. And the other one they couldn't get the rights to was Rocket Man.
That would have been a wonderful meta joke.
Nah, it's on the nose. Very on the nose.
Well, they could have just fucking done row, row, row your boat. What's the problem?
Oh, no, I was thinking because of Shatner, not because of...
I'm thinking because they're in space.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that, I kind of wonder if they were thinking because of Shatner. What's interesting, too, though, is that Jerusalem is weirdly appropriate.
Isn't that like an Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
They do a cover of it. It's a traditional British
song. Yeah.
It's
so both of them knew it.
Yeah. It's actually really about environmentalism. But the basis of it, the did those feet in ancient times, walk around on green, comes from this old British legend that Christ once visited England.
Obviously.
Because that's where Rome got most of its tin. That's true. That part is true. Rome got much of its tin from England. And so because everyone back in the day wanted to connect Christ directly to them, they came up with the idea that for some reason Jesus would have known a tin merchant or something, traveled to England. So whereas that is obviously bullshit, it's still in a similar vein to this whole, could the Polynesians have done this thing, which is an historic thing that you can kind of prove to be like, oh, wow, this might have actually worked. So there's a weird parallel there that admittedly probably unintended.
Peruvians.
That's the one. Definitely.
The Peruvians went to
Jesus went to Peru. Wait.
To get tin.
Because he knew a tin merchant, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really why they say that. The British tried to claim... They also tried to claim direct lineage from Rome. It's dumb.
Well, I mean, King Arthur was the emperor that time, so
yes.
It all makes sense. Who's also obviously another real historic figure.
Oh, that reminds me. Jake, I think you were kind of getting this earlier, but you were talking about how history gets compressed and how everyone kind of thinks of the Middle Ages with knights and that. And you actually think about it, like historically, the full plate armor son of a gun was like the very ass end of the Middle Ages.
I'm pretty sure I saw a documentary about King Arthur looking for the Holy Grail, and he was in shining armor.
Awesome.
Well, that's the thing. The one that was closest to accurate probably was the Monty Python. They were just in the chain. They weren't in full plate.
Well, wouldn't they even have
Which
had
wasn't
that?
even real chainmail, it was yarn.
In King Arthur times, though, I feel like King Arthur was even earlier than that.
That's true. I think King Arthur, if he was real, would have been approximately 800 AD. They must have had chains by then.
I don't know.
You're right, though. I mean, some of it, like the helmets, some of the stuff was still a bit too late.
More importantly, did they have coconuts?
I mean, if an African swallow... Anyway.
Maybe they got the coconuts from the Peruvians that went to Polynesia.
There we go.
There you go.
It all fits.
They hit up England on their way back to...
Said hi to Jesus, high-fived him. They're like, hey, Jesus, plant this coconut. There's going to be a bunch of trees. The knights are going to need them. It'll make sense.
Now, when did Jesus go to Utah?
That wasn't until after the resurrection.
Got it. All right, We're good. We're all covered.
Yeah. But now, when did that missing tribe get to America?
You'd have to
Mormonism?
you'd have to look it up in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is like the Native Americans that Jesus appeared to weren't any Native Americans. They were descended from a lost tribe of Israel that had somehow made its way to what is now North America in 1000
Oh, I
BC
remember
or
them.
something. Yeah,
and Mel Brooks portrayed them in Blazing Saddles, remember?
Nice.
This was all told to a drunk by an angel with a trumpet.
Was the drunk O'Brien?
Yes, it all comes full circle.
One of my favorite comments I just read was oh my god, my fucking mouth. I'll just say Alexander Siddig, that's easier to say. Siddig says, I was, really worried about portraying a drunk person because I'd never done that before, and it's such a fine line in acting, portraying a drunk person. So I was working on it, but it just came so naturally to Cole Meany.
Oh, it's in his blood, isn't it?
Literally, he is always a little drunk.
Jesus Christ. I'd never done that before, because everything else in the acting that he does is like super real and informed by his real life, being in fucking space all the time and whatnot.
Well, I mean, I think it's one thing to like.
Does he never drink? Is that what he's saying? He's never drank?
Sitting?
Well, he's never
No, you have to
play
act. Acting drunk.
I just feel like, have you ever been to a party? You
Well,
sort of-
wait,
That's the thing, though. It's really easy to over-egg it.
Oh yeah, for sure, because most people go full bore, but the thing about drunk people is they're always trying not to look drunk.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing.
Mm.
Well, Siddig, I don't know if he's an observant Muslim. He might not drink.
That's a good question.
Is he an observant Muslim?
I don't
Do we
know.
I don't
I have
know.
no idea.
What are we basing that on? Oh, where he's from.
Where he's
I'm
from.
an idiot. Sorry. Never mind. I'm an asshole. I'm going to ask the internet.
Ask the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? So the interplay of these two plots together, because the episode is about explorers.
Yeah.
Cisco and Jake go off to do an explore, and Julian's over here being like, "Oh man, Dr. Lentz got to do the whole going on the Lexington thing and doing the explore thing, whilst I decided to stay here and be stagnant. And man, it must have been different being her because hers was the more sought after job, and it turns out, oh no, hers wasn't all that interesting anyway. Fuck exploring is boring. But Cisco and Jake are off doing an explore, and it's very not boring. So what the hell are they trying to say here?
When you're not a main character on Star Trek, your job sucks.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's true.
But
I
well,
know that the writers were trying to like say that, oh yeah, because TNG was all about the exploring. Well, we're all about staying in one place more or less. So they're kind of comparing the two and being like, both can be good.
Well, I don't know
Ish.
though, but because I feel like the exploring that she was describing wasn't so much the same kind of stuff they're doing on the Enterprise. Because she's
No,
like,
that's true.
we're charting star systems, which does actually sound pretty boring.
Yeah.
This is like why Riker turned down that post. Because it
Yeah.
sounded fucking boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Enterprise is kind of like, they're the first, like, they fly through and go, hey, there might be interesting shit here. Send someone else to look at it. We'll go have more adventure.
Mm.
Like, there's two waves of Starfleet exploration. There's the person that goes into the unknown and does, like, a quick pass and says, maybe this? And then there's the other people who actually have to, like, poke it and go,
All right, we have a lot of forms to fill out about what this thing is. Everyone get your spreadsheets loaded up.
It actually kind of sounds like that's almost what they're going for next, based on what little I've read. Like they're the second contact ship. So,
Doing the boring work? This is going to be a terrible show.
Well, it's also going to be a comedy, so.
Oh my god. They're going to take the sample and accidentally spill it on the floor, and it's going to eat through the floor.
That's the
Things
thing.
like-
I don't feel like Star Trek is super good at comedy. Like, I think sometimes
I
they're
think-
funny by mistake, but...
I think they got actual comedy writers for this.
Oh,
They went
that's-
outside their, which is good, because yes, usually when Star Trek tries to be funny, end up dying.
And this is the one that isn't specifically for children, but children might watch it? What is
this one is
not for children at all.
I think it's aimed at an adult audience. I want to say
Lots of hentai.
Well, I want to say some of the Rick and Morty writers.
Oh,
So
that's
it
right,
actually
they
is
are.
aimed at children, just like 14-year-olds instead of 8-year-olds.
Yeah, the like 8-year-old one. I haven't heard anything about that in ages, actually. But that's
No.
supposedly going to be all CG and on Nickelodeon.
There's
whereas
too
this-
many projects going
Whereas
on
this
right
one
now.
is traditionally animated, and I have no idea.
I hope it has Pickle
Rick.
Rick in it. God damn it.
No word on whether or not Alexander Siddig is practicing Muslim, but he was born Siddig El Tahir El Fadil El Siddig Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmed Abdel Karim El Mahdi.
Wow. Got
Get that tattooed on your back.
in there. Jeez, that's long.
You should see. You should.
Director known English actor and director known professionally as Siddig El Fadil and subsequently as Alexander Siddig.
Yeah, I can't remember I haven't watched the intro to the show. At some point during the run, he changes it.
Yeah, he's still sitting Alpha Deal, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I never quite understood why. I never researched why.
I unfortunately don't remember, but I know it was a big enough deal when he did the change that he like did an interview in TV Guide about it.
Oh.
Oh, interesting. We should look that up.
Like I forget why he did it, but I know like
I hope it wasn't
got
like
some
Islamophobia or some bullshit like that.
I mean honestly it
Ugh.
was, but like I remember he even said like he did get a little pushback from like Muslim community being like, no, we had someone on Star Trek with that name in the opening credits. Come on, man.
I'll look into it. I'll report back later.
Yeah, we'll try to find it by the time the change in the credits actually happen.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. My final question. Why does Jake know all these freighter captains?
Because he hangs out at Quarks. He probably meets all kinds of people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's probably him and Nog sitting there sharpening people.
Yeah, I was gonna say he and Nog probably tried to scam her somehow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
that's
one of her
true.
crewmates.
And when they couldn't pay up on what's the game that they play?
Domjot.
Domjot.
Yeah, when they couldn't pay up, he was like, "All right, well, what about if I give you a date with my dad? He's hot. He's a hot dad."
If you start dating him, you can probably smuggle all kinds of crap through the station under the radar.
That's
If you
actually that's
if you
brilliant.
start dating him, maybe he'll keep the goatee.
You gotta date
Oh, I
Odo.
hate it. I hate it so much, dude.
Well, unfortunately, it ain't
I
going nowhere.
fucking know.
Well,
I think he looks better with the goatee and no hair.
I mean,
I
the goatee
do
in
too.
this episode
But the real
is no
goatee.
good.
Agree.
Yeah, the real goatee,
No.
the goatee with the hair is kind of weird. Mostly because I'm used to the goatee and no.
He was doing it for me without them. I don't like it as much. I
Fair.
also hate change,
It's true.
but I knew that that's what he would eventually look like, and I just don't care for it as much.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So one thing, because she's older than him and this and that. I'm almost surprised Jake didn't try to date.
Mm,
He does like older Bajoran.
Well,
that's-
like I said, Chase Masterson almost played Marta.
I know, yeah.
yeah.
I actually have one final question, really,
Yeah.
which is like, why was Gul Dukat there with fireworks and shit?
I think so.
Well, he just decided to be a nice fucking guy that day. Like, I don't
so-
Oh
really
no, he was
understand
clearly acting under orders. He was not happy.
The
No,
so the
I
whole
think
thing
Jake
with the
has it.
Cardassians was that, for the longest time the Bajorans have said, "Oh yeah, we had people that made it to Cardassia, yada
With our
yada
solar
yada."
sails.
And the Cardassians always denied it because they wanted to maintain their superiority over the Bajorans, and they didn't want to admit that the Bajorans would have had this technology. And it sounds like they had already previously discovered a crashed ship on Cardassia
Yeah.
that they were
Full
covering
of
up.
corpses, no doubt.
Well, 800-year-old, remains. I don't know if they're still considered corpses at that point.
Mummies.
But did they? My idea is they died in the crash.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did.
Jake,
Presumably.
Jake makes this stupid fucking comment when he's trying to tell, to get Cisco to keep going, and he says, "Oh, did the ancient Bajorans give up and go home?" And I'm like, "No,
They
died
died.
in space."
But anyway, so I think the thing with Dukat at the end was sort of like the gritted teeth, like, yep, I guess they did it.
But like, why? Why did they even bother doing that?
Because Cisco was about to prove that it was possible, and they had to say it first.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to make themselves part of it, kind of try to.
Well,
Plus, they
good
wanted
for
to show
them.
off their fireworks,
Yeah.
which were awesome.
It's also a
They were
good
good
thing because
fireworks.
they definitely would have died in space. The Ciscos, if Gul Dukat hadn't shown up when he did. One thing that about, because we were talking about the implausibility of the technology, how did the sailing ship get into space from Bajor?
Slingshot. It's fine.
was it
Slingshot.
launched
Yeah.
on a rocket? Was it like
It must have been built in space, is kind of the idea.
Yeah, or again, just like you said, Jake, they just stuck it on the top of a rocket, then let its payload go.
Yeah.
Now, how it was
Sounds
supposed to
filthy.
land, couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It
Jump.
doesn't seem like a great plan because there was didn't look like there's any kind of heat shielding or way to re-enter an atmosphere. So
It would.
maybe it was
I mean, that's
maybe the plan
probably-
was just maybe they had like a space station in orbit that
Maybe.
who knows.
So
So they-
See, I know-
I doubt it.
I
Why
mean,
would
we
they
have a
have
Cisco's plan? Cisco had
I
the radio.
know, but
Cisco had the radio, then he could say, "Oh, if I get into trouble, I'll radio someone to come get me within 36 hours." I was like, Jesus, that's a terrible idea.
No, it was 1 hour.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
he
was
said
1 hour.
yeah, but they wound up going way further than they
Yes,
expected.
that's
so.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah, and the idea would be, oh, if something goes wrong, I'll radio Kira, she'll transport us home. But then you realize, a lot could happen in that 1 hour. You're not even in fucking space suits. If when your solar wing had flapped off, it had also, breached the hull, you'd be super dead.
And Gul Dukat says his.
Or if there were,
Yeah,
explosive
he's very right.
decompression or
Yeah.
a meteor hits you or anything.
Jake flushes the 0G toilet wrong.
That's right. Yeah, the zero
You gotta
G
be
toilet is
careful with the
literally
zero-G
just a
toilets,
door
dude.
into space.
Yep.
No, your dick would get sucked off.
Well,
if
no,
that was
it's
what
like an
it was.
airlock. You got to close the lid on the
Oh,
inside.
yeah. Yes, that's true. Fine, that's true. I enjoy that they discuss it, though. Like, how does this work? You'll figure it out.
It's like
I think
the first
maybe
acknowledgement
tell him how,
that
though.
shitting exists in Star
Yeah.
Trek.
He's a teenage boy. He'll put his dick in anything.
It only took well into Deep Space Nine for them to say the word bath.
Mm. Yeah,
It's a
but
red letter
where do
fucking
you
day.
where do you masturbate on that ship?
Anywhere.
You do not.
Directly
With
into
your,
the
like,
replicator.
your dad's right there. Like, what are you gonna do? It's
Exactly,
awkward.
you don't.
Oh, you mean on that ship?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't. You hold it. You're only going to be gone for like a couple hours, right?
5 days, he said.
Oh, well.
And the
he'll be
ancient
fine.
Bajorans would have been gone for years or months. who
Years.
knows?
Listen, he'll just have to deal with nocturnal emissions like every other horny
I mean,
teenager.
presumably the Bajorans they sent weren't related. They could have just masturbated or fucked all they wanted.
That's true. That is a good point.
But they would have been in 0G, and fucking in 0G doesn't necessarily... I heard it's difficult.
No, Velcro shoes, Ames. Velcro shoes.
Has anybody ever
keep on with the
filmed
Velcro
a
shoe.
porno on the Vomit Comet?
I
What?
don't.
I'm
think
sorry.
so.
What is a vomit comet?
It's a plane that they use to train astronauts. That,
to
like it does like
simulate zero G.
It like flies up and down to do 0G.
The Mile
even-
High Zero G Club.
But it's like
They even used it for some filming of Apollo 13.
yeah,
Oh, that's
there was
cool.
they did an OK Go video on it. I know.
That's
Really?
awesome.
That's
OK
wild.
Go's videos are wild, yeah.
Look up
They are,
OK
they're
Go
cool.
0G video. It's kind of neat. It like
cool. We
their
should learn
music
more.
is very mediocre, but their videos are always interesting to watch.
Listen, you can't be great at everything.
I know.
And in this case, they chose to do the thing they're not great at, which
Hey,
is
Jake,
make
Jake.
music.
Get over it. You want to move on?
We kind of have to. We've been talking about this for a while.
Sure.
We have.
All right.
Don't worry,
wait.
we'll cover the
Let's
rant.
just hold. That's a bald-faced lie. We haven't been talking about this at all. We've been talking about everything else.
Oh, yeah,
Let's talk about the Norwegians.
Bringing
I'm
it
just
back.
saying.
Bringing it back to Peru.
All right, let's get to the good shit because we're gonna have lots to talk about. Tell us, Jake.
All right.
Tell us about family
So,
matters, whatever
yeah.
the fuck
Business.
it's called.
So
business.
in family business, it's a rare condition this day and age to read any good
God damn
news
it.
on the newspaper
God
page.
damn it.
Love and tradition.
Every goddamn time.
That's right. Every time.
You already made this joke.
I know, but I didn't.
Chris has cut it.
It's
Don't
still
worry.
a
I didn't
good
do a
joke.
spoken word version. That's the difference.
That's true. It's very Shatnerian.
I was gonna say it was an homage to Shatner. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say
See?
that.
Rocket Man.
Anyway, yeah. So in family business, it's
Directed by Rene Auberjonois.
Renee
Yep.
did it.
Does all the Ferengi episodes now, evidently.
It's
Because
a
he's
Yep.
in love with Quark.
it's a regular day at Quark's. Suddenly, another Ferengi walks in, Brunt from the FCA.
Uh-oh.
Brunt. What a fucking name.
And he's up to no good. He puts a writ of what was it? A writ of accountability.
Yeah, that
Yes.
sounds right.
Paste that up on the wall. It basically says it sounds like it's kind of like an audit, but essentially
Yeah.
the FCA is the Ferengi
They're like
Commerce
the IRS.
Association or something.
I feel like they're probably more powerful and important than the IRS,
Yeah.
considering it's the Ferengi.
They're probably like the FBI, really.
Bit of both, like a combination of them.
Well, the FBI would be researching only financial crimes on Ferengi.
Yeah.
Ferenginar.
Are there other crimes on Ferengi?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure, like, murder is like, well, you didn't bribe somebody enough to get away with the murder, so you're going away for insufficient bribery.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out that Brunt's there because Quark is being charged with a family member who is making profit illegally. Turns out that it's his mom, Moogie.
Oh, that's pretty good, Jake.
And his mom is, as we already know from Pell, Ferengi women are not permitted by law to earn profit or wear clothes. And it turns out that Quark and Rom's mom is kind of a feminist amongst Ferengi, since she does both
Doing
of those
both.
things.
Woo!
Yeah. She doesn't seem to go outside, which is the other thing females can't do.
Well, probably because
She's
she'd
just
wear
working up to it.
probably because she would wear clothes. Like, really, she should do the Pell thing and just get some fake lobes.
She and Pell would be awesome together. They should be in cahoots.
Yeah.
And take off her 14-pound prosthetic boobs that I heard that Moogie has.
Ooh.
She's got some heavy old titties.
Yeah, so Quark heads off to the home world to sort matters out, and we meet Moogie, and indeed, she's pretty. I'm trying to think of a
Headstrong.
word. Yeah, headstrong lady. Quark's like, take off those clothes this minute, and she refuses. They play that.
Brunch won't look
They
at
don't
her.
run that joke into the ground at all.
Is the female talking to me?
Oh, that's true.
And yeah, it turns out, as we find out later in the episode, she hasn't just made the 3 bars of latinum that the FCA found, but she's made much, much more. Evidently, way
She's
more
a
than
Donald Trump.
Yeah, she's the Donald Trump.
No, she's more
that's
successful
actually
than Donald
terrible. He's not successful at
But
all.
she hides it all. She hides it all from the
That's
IRS.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so
fine.
She's
That's
good at
fair.
she's good at scamming the government. So there's
Well, and also
that.
yeah, that's true. She wasn't given a solid $1 million from her dad, though.
So Quark
That's
is going to
true.
go, reporter, and because it turns out in Ferengi, if you're female breaks the law, you have to pay for it.
And she's gonna be an indentured servant?
Yeah, unless
He has to make restitution and she gets to be someone's fucking slave. That's wild.
Well, unless she confesses.
Yeah, if she confesses and returns the
Still,
money.
though, Jesus.
Yeah, oh, it's horrible. It's really
Ferengi,
bad.
it makes sense.
I hate Ferengi, man. They're
Yeah,
shit.
the world building on Ferenginar is wacky as fuck.
Yeah,
Awful.
you got to pay for everything. You got to bribe everybody. It's ridiculous.
I love that it's raining all the time, so that when you visit someone, you can charge them to use a towel that's set out at the front door.
Yeah.
That was nice.
So, Quark and his mom don't get along at first, but eventually Rom tricks them into coming together. In the end, it's kind of a bittersweet ending, because in the end, she ends up signing the confession, but
For Quark.
for Quark's sake, so he doesn't get in trouble.
For way more than the FCA knew about.
Yeah, but for way less
why
than
did she
she's
confess
actually.
all of it?
Well, she didn't. She confessed a third of it because
Yeah, but why didn't she just confess the 3 bars she was
I think
accused
Quark
of?
had
Yeah.
already uncovered the other
Yeah,
amount.
but
and,
Quark
He didn't
hadn't
need
told
to
the
tell him, the
FCA.
stupid bitch.
Yeah, but it was a matter
Quark
of
being
honor
a
for
stupid
Quark
bitch, not
at that
Moogie,
point.
of course.
I don't know.
Well, I don't believe that Quark has any
No, of
fucking
course
honor,
not.
so I think he's just stupid. Actually, you know why he did it? Because he's jealous.
Yeah,
He is
well, there was that
jealous.
too.
She's
Super
so
jealous.
much more successful that he was just like, let's knock her down a few pegs.
Yeah, and their dad was a failure and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us what the B
Just
plot,
like
Jake.
Rom, says Moogie.
Yes. What was the B plot?
Cisco goes on a date.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah. I totally forgot about
Yeah.
that. So yes,
That's really more like the B...
B minus plot.
Yeah.
It's very
B1
Yeah,
or
I
B2
mean,
plot, because...
what's interesting is that this was sort of teased last week, or I mean in the last episode, because this is the freighter captain that Jake was trying to set his dad up with. Turns out we meet her in this episode. Her name is Cassidy.
She's a fucking babe.
She's a babe. She's trying to load her ship, and she's got a crew, and she's got like her name pasted on all of the crates, so you know who delivered
she's a
it.
big deal.
And
She's got the lobes, for sure.
she's got the lobes, big time. So Cisco's like, well, my son kind of like, do you want to go to, I don't know, like, like
and then she's
coffee?
like, let's get coffee.
Oh,
and he's
oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm dumb as hell.
Yeah. So they go on their little coffee date to the Replimat.
What's the Replimat?
It's
What's
like
that?
the shitty restaurant.
It's like, yeah.
It's where
It
you
sounds
go
like
when you
McDonald's.
I mean, I get
It's
it.
where
It
you
sounds
go
like
when-
an automat.
I get
you
that
know what an
Quark's
automat
is
is?
closed.
Well, I was about to say, it's where you go when you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want to go to Quark.
Yeah.
Which,
Go to the Klingon
Yeah,
restaurateur.
that's-
Gives
He's
you some
great.
gach.
It's
Shit.
like, gosh,
and they would have Raktajito.
go to the
That's a
Klingon drink.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Come on, the Replimat's
No,
Go to
like,
the holodeck.
No, Starbucks is canceled, Jake.
oh, is it?
Yep.
Well, the Replimat basically is Starbucks.
No, it sounds like an automat.
Yeah, I mean,
Automats are where
I think it's named after automats.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's where Julian and Garrick have their lunches. Not a bad.
But I'm saying, like, there's probably no service. There's probably just...
Yeah, she just wanted a coffee,
That's
not
true.
like a date.
That's true. So they have this
Yeah,
little
they're starting
date.
slow. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone, in the lead up to the date, everyone's kind of teasing Cisco.
Because Jake has told everyone.
Because they needed to stretch out the plot.
Even Odo is doing a little
Yeah.
teasing. While Miles and Bashir are trying to break into Quark's, which is
Yeah,
closed.
that was a
Yeah.
single.
Well,
thing
we
as a
want our
bandit.
dartboards back.
Could
Want to play darts.
Miles have, as a past transporter chief, could he have transported it out?
Could he have transported themselves in? Like,
Oh yeah.
But then they'd be trapped in there forever.
Yep.
Actually, I could see Quark having ray shielding around the
Yeah, maybe.
bar when he's not there.
Oh, that makes sense.
Anyway, so yeah, they have
Anyway,
their little
how's the
date.
date?
You know, it's a little awkward at first, as dates often are. And she's kind of looking shifty, like she's trying to get out of there, making up an excuse, like, I got a video, gotta get on a Zoom call later. But turns out that her Zoom call was with her, was it her brother, she said?
Yeah.
Her brother.
Her brother, who's lives on a planet other side of the galaxy.
I'm sorry. He lives on Cestus 3, which we should all remember.
Why is that?
Because
It was familiar.
it's from Arena.
Oh.
That's where the Gorn were.
Oh.
Well, what a horrible place, but it's certainly dusty enough for what
Wait,
her
was that-
brother does.
Was that where
That was
they?
the outpost.
Okay, is it not where they had
Gorn
the fight? It's
bombed.
the outpost they blew up. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What a
he's in
callback.
Cestus 3. Turns out that the thing that the video call that she was waiting for was actually a radio audio broadcast of his baseball game. It's just,
Why not a video?
I know, why not a video? But whatever, she specifically says it's audio. Maybe because it's old timey, you know?
Yeah.
Runner takes first, pitcher shits his pants.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how
Accurate.
this
And
That's
then
That's
Cisco.
how you score in that game, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Cisco wants to fuck her brother.
He did a
Damn it!
skid
It didn't
into
work.
home, and he also did a skid in his pants.
Oh.
Skid mark.
Wow.
Yeah, he broke both his arms, sliding into second, and in that moment, she heard a huge thump from under the table. Did you just say, sliding into second?
I'm sliding to second right now.
Well, he might not be right now, but he's gonna be later, if you know what I mean.
so,
Oh, yeah.
Is
The
sliding
ending-
into second anal.
No, second
What?
isn't second like
Second?
touching
Yeah, that's
stuff,
boobies.
under the. Isn't that like under the shirt?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
under
right.
the,
I
under
forgot.
the shirt over the bra.
you're going with Gen Z bases. We're still on
I
millennial
legitimately-
bases.
Yikes.
I legitimately forgot about first and second base being a thing. I was just
Ha, that's
I was
funny.
just
Oh,
thinking
gotcha.
about.
Slide into second. Yeah.
No, this
yeah.
is the exact same ending as the Julian going and hanging out with Dr. Lentz thing, which was them realizing, oh, we should go watch this thing together. Would you like that? I would love to. End of scene.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
fucking times.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't get any. We don't get
And
any.
they
We don't
both
get
led
any
to
sweet
anal sex
payoff.
and
although
or
we do
sliding
see,
into second.
We do pan up to
There's your
see
title.
to see Jake having spied on them throughout the date.
Yeah.
Do a sweet fist pump
Creeper.
when
Yeah.
they go off with each other to watch baseball.
Wait, did that happen?
Yes.
Did I miss
Yep.
that?
Yeah, no, that happened.
Son of a bitch!
He was like,
missed
yeah, baseball.
Getting my dad laid.
Yeah, sliding into second. Jake, you shouldn't even know about that. You're like 16.
He was
Yeah,
for a
Marta.
good couple.
Marta.
Oh yeah, she probably did
showed
shit
Marta.
to him.
Or Marta showed him the mythical fifth base. So you know.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with all these freighter captains. He's basically a pirate now.
Well, he's gonna raid that booty.
You know, thinking about it, you know, like
Consensually.
it must be extra nice for Bajoran women to get, you know, gone down on by other Bajorans. They can use the nose ridges like as extra.
Little-
For her pleasure, ribbed for her
Yeah.
pleasure, for sure.
Oh, I wonder if there's like a sex toy that's like a little vibrator that you attach to the nose, so that when you're going down, your nose actually vibrates.
That should exist anyway.
Well, it probably should.
Why
Yeah,
does
that
that
could
not
be a human
already
thing.
exist?
Tickle a lot to have on your nose.
No, it will feel great.
Yeah, but-
Let's patent it right the fuck
All right,
now.
Chris, cut this out so nobody steals the idea.
For real.
Well,
We're gonna be rich.
Clip on vibrating Bajoran ridges.
Although there
No,
are
just
like
just a nose vibe. It'll be perfect. They can use the. No, you know I won't be able to do it. Is because all of the little bendy pieces that we'd need to keep the thing on your face are being used for the face masks. You know, for the new liberal hoax.
oh,
I
that's
feel like
right.
it also make your eyes quiver.
That's
It
fine.
might not be
That'd be
comfortable to
weird.
wear. Is my concern.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
not,
so-
listen, it's not about you, okay?
Speaking of equipment,
Jesus Christ!
Don't segue, then you have to keep all that.
Segue!
I think I finally.
Leave it in, which is what
You just
Cassidy's
said
gonna
to
say
take it
later.
out. Oh no.
Oh
think-
yes.
I think I finally figured out the reason for the Ferengi head bobble thing.
Head bobble thing?
The shade, the head shade.
Oh, they're yeah.
Okay.
They're
Okay. So it apparently rains on Ferenginar all the fucking time.
It's a swamp planet.
Right. They really are frogs.
Because they're frogs, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the writers wrote in the stage directions.
Oh, nice. So it's constantly raining, but they apparently never bothered inventing or buying the umbrella because they keep those towels there. So what we noticed, they're not universal. Like Quark doesn't wear one, Brunt doesn't, Secretary at the FCA doesn't. But so I'm thinking it's therefore not a cultural thing necessarily, but what it is some Ferengi wear it because what it does do at the very least is keep rain from trickling down your neck into your shirt. It redirects it to like your shoulders and your back. And some Ferengi are just too stubborn. They're like, I don't care. Or they have a big enough back of their head that it's not an issue.
Maybe.
If one of them would invent the fucking umbrella, they could charge shitloads of platinum to take one of those at the door. Jesus.
I feel like all their clothes are probably just water resistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I wonder if
but
maybe...
that's right. But I still think it's to keep it, rolling from your head to your water resistant jacket. And again, not because you ever get rain like right between your neck and your shirt.
Maybe, though, actually kind of building on that, maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's a not wearing one is kind of a status symbol, perhaps, in that you're basically saying, well, I can afford to pay for the towel when I walk into a building. But
that's
but
interesting.
by wearing one, you're saying, oh, I don't want to get so wet, so I'll wear one of these so I don't have to spend
I think it's
money
actually
on the towel.
code. It's code that you're looking for a gay partner to piss on you.
Then why are they wearing them around Deep Space Nine where it doesn't rain at all?
Well,
because he's always looking for a gay man to piss on him. Why are you not listening to what I am saying?
I mean, I think the reason
he's got different color ones. Sometimes he was looking for something else. It's like a bandana.
Because I think it's one of those, maybe it was utilitarian, but it also is now just fashion well. But I feel like maybe that was...
Okay.
I like the idea. I like it. I'm into it. I loved Quark's outfits this week,
he looked
too.
Great. I loved all of them.
I remarked to Chris whilst I was watching this episode that I felt that Quark looked like a bomb pop in his original, red, pinky, bluey situation. Oh. You know the one I mean, the rocket pop?
Yeah, delicious.
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
I mean, actually kind of, because it was all like pink, I kind of thought it looked like that trans pride.
I didn't think of that. Shit. I mean, if the Klingons said trans rights, why couldn't Well,
Ferengi wouldn't, so...
Yeah. I mean, we saw what happened when there was a female that just tried to dress male.
Oh, gross! You're right. They would.
You saw what happened when there was
people.
you saw what happened when there was a female that just wore clothes.
Yeah.
God, everything about that. Oh, are you uncomfortable, Rom? Want me to take my clothes off? Yeah,
For
Mom,
you
that'd be
only.
great. Oh, get the fuck out of here! It's just so gross. Like
Yeah, we got a window into Ferengi culture, and it ain't great.
Yeah, I want to close that window immediately.
That's hardly a surprise.
Yeah. But, we already knew, their horrible capitalistic bullshit is one thing. And we already knew that there was sexual repression going down. But to now see the extent of it and just how horrible it is.
Yeah,
when did we learn about the sexual repression?
Well, we knew, from Pell.
Well, that's not really sexual repression.
I mean, repression based on gender.
Oppression. It's oppression. Repression sexually is like being closeted.
Sure.
I think. I mean,
either way, we learned that there's issues of gender on Ferenginar.
They might hate trans people, but they probably would love gay people. Cutting females out altogether.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd find a way to be shitty about it.
Yeah, I wonder if some of that is specifically I have someone who will give me offspring. Offspring could be important to them in some way. Look how many sons I have.
Yeah.
Quark and Rom.
There. Could be.
I do like that they're already a short, but they build all their doors to flow even for themselves.
They're like little hobbit doors too, did you notice?
Yeah, they're all round. Yeah.
Well,
it's probably been the familial home for centuries, and they could, upgrade, but that would cost a lot of fucking money.
Well,
it explains why Rom is always stooping.
Up until the last couple of years, Ferengi always kind of walked around, kind of half hunched over, going,
yes.
With their whips. Jake is doing the gesticulating from Last Outpost, too.
I wish we were recording this, because that was absolutely beautiful.
You know what it is? I bet dollars
like a
to
dance.
donuts. It's that the height of doors was set by some Grand Nagus who was particularly short, like centuries ago. That is how high you make your doors now, no matter what.
I wouldn't be
feels right.
surprised. It's probably a rule of acquisition.
Probably.
I couldn't believe that there were no fucking rules of acquisition. I thought of all the episodes and all the fucking... all of Star Trek, we'd get a rule of acquisition. They're mentioned.
Yeah.
We know that Moogie helped Quark memorize the rules of acquisition, but we get no rules. We only get, paragraph 1034, subsection 3, or whatever the fuck.
Oh, and of course, Brunt, that was Jeffrey Combs.
Oh,
Yes.
Who we saw
And
previously.
he plays the Andorian later, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
we're going to see
he'll
more
also-
of him.
Yeah, he's actually... We'll see Brunt a few more times. He has another recurring character on DS9, who I think I read actually appear in the same episode.
Yeah.
at
That's
some
great.
point,
They do.
That's
making
wild.
Jeffrey Combs the only Star Trek actor who plays multiple characters
In one
to
episode.
appear, as multiple characters.
You mean unlike
That's
Brent
neat.
Spiner?
Or unlike Tom and
And
Will
Brent
Riker.
Spiner has a 3
Actually, no, that's the same character.
Not non-regular, I think. That
Okay.
yeah, because Sarek played, a Romulan and
Oh,
Klingon
yeah,
at
the
that
Romulan.
time, but they never met.
But they weren't in the same episode.
Mark Alamo was that hard guy that time. Of course, he never.
But again,
God.
not in the same... I thought the
He should.
distinction you were trying to make was that it was the same episode.
I think
Yeah,
it
that's what I
was.
mean. I think Jeffrey Combs is the only.
As a non-regular cast
Majel
member.
hasn't?
Oh,
I
Majel's
don't know if you
definitely been
count the
Waxana
computer,
and the
though.
computer in the
I
same.
don't know if you're not counting the computer.
I always count the computer.
No,
But
this article didn't, because you're right. Although they did go out of their way in her first couple of appearances to not have the computer talk, but I think they eventually gave up on that.
This
Oh, they definitely did it in the episode with Pup.
Yep.
This article,
Fucking Pup.
it sounds like it was going out of its way to find a thing. Like some of those Guinness World Records is like, where it's like, okay, well, how specific can we get to make this thing actually a world record?
Yeah, this is the tallest tower of day-old Cheetos, not to be confused with the tallest tower of 2-day-old Cheetos.
Or the tallest tower of cheese.
That's
Those
entirely
are
different,
much.
Chris.
Those are much easier to
What do we
stack.
think? Because I'm a Cheese It guy. What do we think about
As opposed to
Cheese Nip?
Cheese nips.
But they're practically the same, if I remember. Aren't they?
I actually haven't had cheese nips in ages, so I don't know.
I might have to get a box of Cheese
appreciate
Nips
it.
just to
Are
compare.
cheese nips are still square?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're basically
Okay. They're the
They're
identical.
the same.
Yeah.
Do you know that Hydrox actually came before Oreo, and
I
yet
did
they are
know,
absolute
yeah.
trash?
Yeah, but Hydrox also, they're trash, and they also sound like a cleaning product.
Yeah. Hydrox is like knockoff Clorox, you feel like,
Yeah.
sort of.
So, you're telling me at the end of me bit bittersweet, signing the thing anyway, which was definitely a bummer. Like, it was kind of nice that it turns out she secretly had a bunch of money squirreled away. I like that apparently Rom got that aspect of her, because Rom does, for all that he isn't the brightest, he has those occasional moments of like when he stole a bunch of the Grand Nagus' money a few weeks ago. Or the
He's good
fact
at
that
keeping
he...
a secret, really,
Yeah.
what it is. He's better at keeping a secret than anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Well, he also
Yeah.
came up
He
with that
embezzled
plan
from
to
the
trick
Ferengi
them,
Benevolent Fund, right?
Yeah, like there are depths to Rom, and he makes a fucking good lock.
Yeah, he makes a good luck. I mean, it seems like Rom is, he's a mechanical genius, it seems like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just decided this past couple episodes.
No, because
So they kind of
he
laid the seed.
yeah, because
Well,
he
they've
opened
shown him fixing replicators and stuff, too.
he opened another lock pretty early on.
Yeah, in the Odo Noir
Yeah.
episode. Like, it's like we were saying a few weeks ago. It's like, he actually is quite smart. He's just not good at business. So, to a Ferengi, he's an idiot.
Yeah, and he's got a really dopey sounding voice, so
Yeah.
that doesn't help.
Yeah, he does a great job, say, lying to Ishka and Quark to get them in a room together. Because I think that's where his expertise is. His expertise is in keeping fucking secrets.
And you know what's great, too, is because you can see he's so good at that the times where he quote-unquote slipped during Brunt's interview was clearly on purpose to fuck with Quark. But brother, you stamp. It's like, okay, that was on purpose.
I don't know about that.
But because
Because then he gets his foot stamped, and how could he want that?
well, because he's lost his brother some money, and that's
Could be. I don't know. That might be too deep of a dive, but I enjoy the idea.
Well, remember,
as a thought experiment, I like it.
He got involved with a plot to try to assassinate Quark when he became Grand Nagus that time. So
That's true.
Cool. I want to talk a bit about Moogie's plan in how it's framed in the episode, because I think the fact that Moogie is a business genius is awesome. She and Pell could do wonders together.
Oh yeah.
But I think Pell does it better, and maybe it's just that the Pell episode does it better at not feeling so fucking heavy-handed about it. Because this one, from the off, you're like, but females this, but females that, but females everything. Every fucking sentence is females can't do this. Whilst in the Pell episode, you just let Pell be a character.
Well, Pell had the advantage of starting off hidden.
Yeah, I think they should have done something like that. I think they should have done something like that with Moogie, so that it was more gradual, that you started to see her radicalism. Because, she comes out and she's fully dressed and she talks to Brunt and everyone's like, you can't do this, you can't do this.
Yeah,
If she had put up some kind of a facade and was like, oh, and to take the clothes up, I didn't realize people were here. Oh, here we go, now we're all set. I won't talk to you, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I see that, but also I think what they were trying to do was, show that Moogie is and has always been probably, just by the way that Quark talks about her, has always been like kind of a radical feminist, or as radical a feminist you can be on Ferenginar.
Yeah, but by Ferengi state.
Not chewing their food and...
Yeah. So she's always been out there, and I think at this point in her old age, she's just stopped giving any fucks, and that's what we're seeing.
To what end? Is it just that she's literally fed up and not gonna be naked anymore? And
yeah, she
still hides the fact that she's getting money, but she admits to it immediately when Quark asks her about it.
Yeah, I think she knows that the jig is up when they show up with Brunt. So, and for all we know, she's already even heard that there was a writ of whatever the fuck it is. Accountability.
Why would she know that?
I don't know.
Why would you tell a female anything?
Who knows? Maybe
Who even talks to a female?
Maybe she's got maybe Rom called her to let her know before they even left the station. Who knows?
Yeah, if anyone would, it would be him.
Honestly, she probably just wants to scare the FCA.
Yeah, that actually explains why his tooth sharpener is out when he comes over. It's like, what the fuck is that doing out on the table when you haven't been here in years?
That's a good point.
But I don't know. I think she kind of she's probably trying to make a statement with this whole thing. She's hoping that I can draw attention to this issue.
She probably intentionally flipped up.
People at the FCA tell their friends tell their wives about this freak who's doing this shit, and then the seeds are sown, maybe.
Well, probably 99 times out of 100 when something like this happens, they sign the confession immediately, and that's the end of it. But if she can be like that one case that, where they actually have to do the sell into servitude thing and, make Quark pay restitution, it would draw a lot more attention to it, and maybe she was hoping that other like-minded people would be like, that's kind of fucked.
No, she certainly didn't want to get sold into indentured servitude.
I mean, she said she would do it, though. She said she would rather do that than sign the confession.
Yeah, that was after a lot of her being like, no, I don't want that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of hoping maybe the end that it turns out he was too big to fail. Like, they were going to show up and find out how much she actually had and be like, if we try to undo
we're going to collapse our own economy.
Yeah. So they just kind of have to be okay with it very quietly.
See, that would have been a more interesting ending, I think.
Definitely.
But in a way, it's a bummer, but it's also more realistic.
Yeah, they wanted to keep the story like a family story. Like the relationship between Ishka and Quark is really what the focus is.
Yeah.
Like the writers likened this to a Ferengi version of a Long Day's Journey into Night, which is just, family that has been apart for a long time and kind of getting back and learning about each other again.
A lot less booze.
I was going to say, Chris, that's one of your favorite plays, isn't it?
Oh my god, I would kill him. Not the main brother.
The one with
failure.
the one with tuberculosis, or the other one?
The other one.
Okay. The one who isn't actually Eugene O'Neill.
Yes. Yeah, because he has an amazing monologue. But yeah, it's focused on the family, and again, it's also the real world. Cultural change takes time. There's small victories, there's failures, and that. So I think while it would have been kind of funny to have big sort of great victory for Moogie kind of thing, it also is less representative of how change does.
True.
Well, and we see her again, right? I mean, I don't know anything about her, but I know future episodes, but I know we see her again.
We do see her again, played by a different actress.
Different actress.
Yeah, this is exactly what I realized till I looked her up last night. I thought she might have been familiar, but I didn't.
Well, she and Majel at some point are both going to be tattooed upon my person because they are my favorite Star Trek feminist icons.
No Uhura?
Yeah, right.
But
Uhura can come too.
but Luoxana likes being naked, and Moogie doesn't like being naked.
I was thinking about having them get married and have
on your body.
They could have a wedding where Luoxana gets to be naked.
Luoxana would be naked, and the Ferengi Moogie gets to be dressed.
There you go. Perfect.
I said someone should design a shirt of them.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, but it's like a top-down shuttlecraft.
Can Pell come? Pell should come. Pell should officiate.
There we go.
I was thinking also that it would be a good, Luoxana could be the Queen of Hearts, and Moogie could be the Queen of Diamonds. Might kind of work. No, Ames doesn't like that.
No, it's too thematic.
Cheesy?
Cheesy.
Fucking cheesy? Is that the word you're looking for?
I'll say cheesy.
Thank you.
Cheese it.
Cheese nips.
What they really have to do is official Ferenginar monopoly. I know there's Star Trek monopoly. They need Ferenginar. They have the Grand Nagus' head thing as one of the tokens.
They being in show, or they being in the real world?
In the real world. I want to be able to buy Ferenginar.
Why don't you just make it,
Why?
Chris?
You don't need another fucking... Oh, Jake, why don't you make it? You have a 3D
I feel
printer.
I feel like the rules should be extra stacked against you, and everyone loses except the Grand Nagus.
Yeah, I think we should actually design a frustratingly impossible board game that is inspired by Monopoly.
So we're gonna create Ferenginopoly, and we're gonna invent a Bajoran nose vibrator.
Yes, there's our two business ideas.
We're gonna be fucking rich.
The funny thing is, for the Ferenginar Monopoly, the end game is we get sued by Mattel. Or whoever. I don't know if Mattel makes Monopoly. I don't know who does, but...
Isn't it Parker Brothers or something?
I don't know.
Might be Hasbro.
Hasbro might be right.
No, you're right. It is Hasbro.
Except I think Hasbro bought Parker Brothers at some point, or vice versa. So they're all the same company now anyway.
Either way.
Everything's secretly
we get
owned by
sued in the end. That's all that
that
matters.
That's the important part.
So soon.
I have an important note, and that's that Jake wanted to talk about the Rubicon.
Oh, yeah, I mentioned... So this is just a little... The writers must have been chuckling to themselves. So at the start...
I'm sure they were.
They mentioned that there's a new runabout to replace the one that was destroyed with the battle.
With Garrick and Odo.
And Sisko's like, I want to call it the Rubicon, which the last one, the one that it's replacing was destroyed in the episode The Die is Cast, which is a reference to what Julius Caesar said famously after crossing the Rubicon.
Oh!
Which I thought was a very poetic naming choice.
Yeah, and Tane gets off delivering a Julius Caesar line or something. Was that what happened there?
Well, the whole episode.
No, I think Garrick gave a line.
He
quoting
he was
Caesar.
quoting Caesar because he didn't understand the play.
That reminds me.
So this is about a salad dressing, you say?
There was we were talking about the Ferengi justice system, how it might work, and I think it was either Rome or ancient, probably Greece, where depending on the city-state, they didn't have public prosecution, the state didn't prosecute crimes. So the only way really you could get justice if crime was committed against you was if you had enough money to mount a prosecution. You had to pay for prosecution. So essentially, if you committed a crime against somebody who was poor, you got away with it. Just like now, but even worse.
Well, that raises a question.
But I imagine
who
the
pays
Ferengi
for the FCA? I wonder if the FCA is a private venture that like you get to keep. If you're able to uncover financial crimes, you get to keep.
Yeah,
keep it.
they definitely got Moogie's money.
So Brunt's got all that money from
just
Moogie
collect
now.
the money.
That could, yeah. Yep.
I did like the little, deposit boxes everywhere with the biggest head on. Just constant paying and bribery.
Oh, take a seat. How much?
How much? I'll stand. That's one strip.
When he stood up to greet Rom, I almost expected him to make him pay a second time for the
Right?
seat.
Yeah.
I did too.
I was really
that would have been
disappointed.
silly. That would have been a silly Ferengi fucking thing.
And we'd already done the 40 flights of stairs because of the expensive elevator.
Oh, God.
I
Oh,
imagine.
man, and they took the elevator down because Rom lies to him about the money. You know
Yep.
he's taking that out of Rom's
Oh,
salary.
big time.
Yep. Good.
I wonder if
he deserves it.
Rom
Poor
must have
son of a
already
bitch.
Rom must have already taken the elevator up. Because he kind of acted like he was out of breath, but he was too close on Quark's heel.
So was it? Do we think it was?
He's
it's
just in better
per
shape.
trip. Like, do you think if you're taking the elevator with multiple people, you can split the fee, or is it per person?
Oh, God, no, it is definitely.
It's per person. We're certainly.
I don't know. There must be a way around it, like sneaking people into the drive-in in your, I almost
Purse?
said boot. Jesus Christ.
What?
Your,
Trunk?
Wait, drive-ins you pay per person? I always assumed it was per car.
It didn't used to be, if it is now.
I mean, yeah, nowadays drive-ins are such a rare commodity. They're probably just happy to have anyone show
I
up.
don't know.
Did you
Drive-ins
hear
are
that they
coming
made-
back.
Did you hear that they
Yeah.
built one at Kowloon?
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, dude, we need to fucking go to Kowloon.
I'm surprised they don't just
What, up
build
in
one in the
Peabody?
parking lot of like Revere Cinema.
How about every fucking parking lot everywhere? Who the
Well,
fuck is parking right now?
Well,
Like,
see, the
Especially
tricky
at movie
part-
theaters.
yeah.
The tricky part is, it's one thing to set up a screen and a projector, but then you have to set up all the sound.
Well, a lot of them
Really?
also
No,
broadcast
they do
over
it.
FM.
No, they don't do that anymore. They do it by
Oh,
radio. It's a
okay.
radio dial.
Yeah.
I went to one when I was younger.
And especially nowadays, with so many radio stations closing down, that's just a bunch of empty air.
Yeah. Yep. It's totally easy to do that. Though I love those things that you like mount in your window. I think that's really cool. But yeah, they don't do that shit anymore.
You know, it was an interesting little touch in the episode. But when Rom did show up and didn't have any Latin for his tea, he looks at Quark, brother, and Quark's like, drops the money in. The secretary looked vaguely scandalized.
I missed
Oh.
Not hugely, just he did kind of make a little face, just gonna say yes. There was no barter, no discussion of what the interest would be. He's like, yeah.
that. I think he's just probably more likely smug because I'm guessing he paid full price for
Yeah,
Rom.
probably.
I didn't notice the moment though. So
Yeah, it was a very subtle expression. Even Quark, who was much more traditionally Ferengi, occasionally not.
well, it was an important episode about the importance of family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the quote. I think Rom gives this. Is this Rom or is this Moogie that says, "Dad couldn't have held on to Latin if you'd sewed it into his pants."
That was wrong.
Yeah.
That's surprising because that's a great line.
Yeah, it was a really good line.
My final note is when Cisco and
Cassidy
are going out for their coffee date. They're like, "Let's have coffee at 1800 hours." And I wrote down, "Who has coffee that late?" Answer:
Miles
O'Brien has coffee all damn day long.
My husband never has coffee in the afternoon.
Well, the other thing though, so 1800 hours would be 6 p.m.
Yep.
Mhm.
But it's also a 26-hour day.
Yeah.
Huh?
They
Is
established
it?
that in season
Yeah.
1.
I don't remember that at all.
They never established that, but they've mentioned 26 hours an awful lot.
That's way too many fucking
It's
hours.
the length of a Bajoran day.
They've never.
So there's a 13 o'clock?
I guess.
Two of them, I
Well,
suppose.
I would say there's already a 1300 hours because they're military.
Yeah. I don't know
No,
if they
but
use,
like we would
yeah,
say 2 o'clock, 13 o'clock.
maybe.
But yeah, it's so military,
Yeah,
they probably don't.
They probably
just
just
use
have,
them.
2,500 hours.
Wild.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of schedule. Plus, I mean, I don't know about. I imagine both Ben and Cassidy being. Ben's the head of a space station, who, when he remembers he's got important things to do, has a lot of important things to
and
do.
isn't in the fucking bunker building himself a fucking spaceship.
Sir, you do remember the Dominion still could just show up and eat. Oh,
Nope, gotta build these solar sails.
But like Cassidy probably has crazy schedule because of like bouncing around.
Yeah, like you're traveling to places that have different times than you all the time. That's got to be nuts.
Well, like, they probably both. Wait a second. I just want to get this out. They probably both have drank so much caffeine in their lives at this point that it's not so much to keep them awake; it's to keep them from dying.
Well, I was just going to ask. That actually fits really well into what I was trying to say. Because if they eliminated alcohol, from booze,
some alcohol,
from drinks,
from synthahol,
right? Do we think that coffee even still has caffeine?
Fucking better be. This
or does it have synthophene?
Well, they're also drinking Klingon coffee.
If there wasn't caffeine in the coffee, they wouldn't have made a big deal about how Miles doesn't drink coffee late in the day.
Well, I think that was just to prove that
Keiko doesn't know her husband.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But no, I imagine Bractigino doesn't just have caffeine; it has like super
caffeine.
It's just cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
It explains Gowron so well.
You know, drugs that are today that are really addictive. I imagine like addiction treatments for the most part are probably, especially for common drugs like cocaine or heroin and things like that, or
whatever the Jem'Hadar use.
Well, but again, like we know that is like a chemical addiction, and there's no way to break them of it because it's part of their DNA. And we know that what's his name, David Marcus.
No, the character from that show though.
Yes. Like they had some chemical addiction, but I wonder if like doing drugs isn't so bad. Like I wonder if you could just do cocaine to stay awake and then like get a hypo spray to cure the addiction the next day.
I don't know. Why would anyone do drugs, Tasha?
Well, you see,
remember,
I think that there probably isn't a hypo spray to fix that because that's mental. It's not always physical.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
a lot of it could be mental.
You know, they can do all kinds of crazy shit.
Well, they use that brain ray from the Madhouse episode of TOS.
They can just rewrite your brain, dude.
But we all know in Gene's future, they're, at least the people of Federation do that sort of thing.
That's true.
I bet you also they have other, like, equivalents to drugs. Like, just vitamin supplements and stuff.
Holodeck addiction.
Well, they're always, like, putting on, like, cortical stimulators and things like that.
So it's probably just new, more legal drugs that are just as bad as the old illegal drugs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but,
being hypo sprayed into your face all the time.
But yeah, the original, I know we talked about this time, but the original script for Stay on the Edge of Forever.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Doc getting accidentally injected. Some random crewman who was secretly getting high I think he was, like, stealing the cord.
All we know is that biomed gel is definitely not allowed to fuck around with that.
Yeah, but then they yelled at Harlan Ellison saying, "You can't do that! Not on Star Trek! Who the hell do you think we are, man?"
Oh,
I'm sorry. And that's why he hated that show won.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to tell a compelling story, not be a wuss.
No, it's better with McCoy though.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways it does work better.
And fucking DeForest Kelly can own that.
McCoy.
Yeah. Also, I feel like a drug addiction subplot wouldn't have fit in that episode. Like there was already enough going on there.
I just like to, goof on Harlan.
When have they ever let another plot not fitting into an episode stop them?
That's true. Play ball!
Awesome.
Actually, when you think about TOS, they didn't do plots back.
No.
Sometimes they didn't even do A plots.
Well, they had like moments where they allowed the characters who weren't Spock, McCoy, and Kirk have a line, and that was what they did for B plot.
There'd be like a scene with the three non-main characters.
Yeah.
Having a laugh about something.
Scotty's kind of between the main and non-main. He's in his own realm.
But Sulu, Uhura, and
Chekhov.
It's something that never occurred to people right now that they didn't really do plots on the show.
That's because all they needed was Kirk having an adventure. That's all they wanted to focus on most of the time.
Yeah.
Who cares about the more minor characters?
I kind of wonder if B plots just weren't really a thing in television in general then, or just some shows. Let me know if you know, listeners.
No.
Well, we've gotten so far off track for about the 30th time today.
Sorry.
So
if
there's
TOS, wow.
Let me check my notes.
Oh, my last note. They didn't have time to create a foam latex piece for Moogie's shoulders and chest, So the makeup designer Michael Westmore had to use rubberized Kleenex because it didn't look good just bare.
Those are called
What
dental.
the fuck is a
That's dental
rubberized
dams.
Kleenex?
That's a dental dam.
I don't know. You take Kleenex, you wad it up, and then you rubber it.
Huh?
Yeah, I sort of assumed almost like paper mache, but using rubber
Like
Yeah,
liquid
to hold it
latex.
together.
Yeah, and then paint it the right color. And...
Well, right, instead of slapping it on her directly, because then probably got to be a bitch.
Actually,
to get
no.
off.
Actually, I think
Yeah, maybe-
we did for a play that we did many years ago. We had somebody create a prosthetic using toilet paper and liquid latex, I believe.
Oh, that's very true.
Oh,
yeah.
So
no
that is a
shit.
thing.
Maybe this is why the actress didn't come back for the second time. We'll see Ishka.
Maybe.
Because they ripped off all her skin with their fucking prosthetic.
Mhm.
Those sons of bitches.
That actually, this actress, she's still alive. The second movie, younger, passed away.
Why are they
Right,
casting Moogie so young?
Probably because an older
Ageism.
person would have a harder time being under that much makeup, maybe.
That's a good
Well, and
point.
also, Estelle Getty was the youngest cast member of Golden Girls and played the oldest person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's because
She
she was
was the
3 feet
youngest? That's
tall.
wild.
Yeah, Estelle was the youngest, yep.
Well, it's funny, how much younger she did look the minute you just took the glasses
Yeah.
off.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
Just taking off those gargantuan glasses, you're like, oh yeah, she's not
but
like
I think the fact that she was so diminutive and the glasses
Yeah.
conspired to make her seem the oldest.
Well, that's she was. Not only is she already genuinely quite short, she's also next to Bjork,
Right, who's like 400 feet tall.
unusually tall.
Huge, yeah.
So yeah, with those powers combined, you got Captain Sophia.
Hmm.
Picturing the Alpha Quadrant, Stardate 32578.
I don't care. I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, I had no other notes.
Play
Excellent.
ball!
God damn it.
All right, well, if you enjoyed that and you want to hear more A Star to Steer Her By, we'll be back next week when we discuss two more just DS9 episodes. I guess I don't know if they're great or not. But next week we'll be talking about
don't
Shakar
lie.
and Facets. Huh?
Hips don't lie.
Oh,
Well,
I
not
get it.
Shakira, Shakar. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, A Star to Steer Her By is available where all fine podcasts are sold. We are on Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. We also have several homes on the web that you can check out. We're on Facebook if you search for A Star to Steer Her By. We are SSHB Podcast on Twitter and Tumblr, or you can visit sshbpodcast.com, find our awesome home on the web, which is definitely not just a link to our Tumblr.
Definitely not.
No, definitely not that. I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is always Ames. Moogie.
And did those feet in ancient times
You know
walk upon
Jerusalem?
England's mountains?
He's got the song by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah, I have an
It comes
album.
up often.
ELP covered it. That's the only reason I know. It's kind of like how I know the Canadian national anthem because of the South Park movie.
Oh,
Canada.
It's also way
Our
easier
home
to
and
learn.
native land. True
patriots
In all thy sons command,
That's a
with
much better anthem.
glowing hearts we
Oh,
see thee rise.
Please
The
cut all of
true
this.
north
This is awful.
strong and... I am way out of tune.
Yeah, you're cutting all of this.
We'll see.
I think we
I'm gonna
should do a
stop
national
recording.
anthem at the start of every episode going forward.
Which one, though?
We'll do a new one every week.
Ooh.